As the film begins, a pregnant woman named Natalia is shown. Then it is time for her to give birth. Alina, Natalia's mother, is also present. Natalie's condition is starting to bother her, and her mother rushes her to the hospital. The majority of doctors are absent due to the late hour. A nurse, on the other hand, is caring for her. Natalia has given birth. When they see the infant, they are all shocked and concerned. Because everything I saw was incredible. Because the baby starts flying. Natalia is astounded as well. Her mother is then informed that an angel baby has been born in their home. Natalia's mother, being knowledgeable and experienced, recognizes that he is not typical. It's true, because the baby was born without gravity. Because they are unprotected individuals, they should leave the hospital. Despite what the nurse says, they are not yet ready to be discharged. When they get home, however, they ignore her. As Natalia enters the house, her mother asks her a strange question. She requests that you recall the child's guardian, but Natalia is unable to recall the child's guardian. Then her mother informs us that this child is not normal and that we must keep it a secret. And if someone finds out, we could face a lot of problems. Then they choose Oscar as the child's name. And Oscar was a unique child. Because his upbringing was difficult. He used to stare at the ceiling for a long time when they left him alone. His grandmother makes the various straps for him to keep that child on the ground. They also make the ceiling pulpy and feathery so the child does not get hurt. Because they were afraid that if they left him outside alone, he would fly away into space. As Vigiluminating with Oscar. His mother and grandmother take excellent care of him. Oscar begins to mature with the passage of time. However, he remains in the house. His grandmother forbids him from going outside. He used to watch Superman cartoons when he was younger. He also used to fantasize because he is a superhero. Then Oscar repeatedly asks his mother Natalia why they don't let him go outside. They, however, disregard it. Oscar sees people through the window, including kids on their way to school like him. And he used to gaze longingly at the playing children, longing for an independent life. He imagines himself imprisoned here indefinitely. Then, irritated by the confinement of the house, Oscar attempts to escape through the window one day. But his grandmother got furious seeing him. Grandmother seals all windows while watching everything. And she instructs Oscar that he will never leave the house like the schoolchildren. And he will read while residing at home. Oscar's mother became enraged upon hearing this. And she asks how long we will keep him imprisoned. He will only go outside once. Oscar's mother then brings him a jacket with 2 stones in its pockets. As a result, he is unable to fly. She ignores her mother and takes Oscar outside. Furthermore, she requests that she not reveal the secret to anyone, including Superman, or else he will cease to be a Superman. Oscar is on his way to the store with his mother when he collides with a young girl. Agata is the name of the little girl. Agata's possessions have fallen from her grasp. She yells at Oscar and hands him 2 water bottles. She claims that leaving these bottles at my house is your punishment. Oscar, on the other hand, refuses. However, Oscar agrees with Agata's insistence. And he marries that little girl without telling his mother. Oscar now carries 2 heavy bottles in his hands, as well as stones in his pockets. As a result, he is a little overweight. So he drops the 2 stones and reaches into his pocket. His friendship with Agata is now blossoming. When Agata arrives home, she inquires about the water bottles. Oscar, on the other hand, refuses to return the water bottles. Because he knows if the bottles aren't returned, he'll start flying through the air. Agata is immature, so she steals Oscar's water bottles. Oscar begins flying in the air as she takes water bottles from him. That location is constrained by its surroundings, preventing Oscar from flying too high. Agata is taken aback when she sees it and calls her Superman while shouting. Oscar approaches her for assistance. When Agata hears it, she rushes into her house and returns with a pink bag filled with stones. It was their brilliant idea to put these stones in his pocket. Oscar descends after their plan is successful. They eventually become best friends. Then Oscar tells Agata, "Promise me you'll keep it a secret." Mother and grandmother, on the other hand, are concerned about Oscar's disappearance. They search him enough. And they believe it because he has flown through the air. His mother discovers the stones that have fallen on the ground and places them in his pocket. Then Oscar returns home with the given bag of Agata and tells his mother about it. Then his mother asks if he has revealed his secret to her somewhere. But he lies and claims that I did not tell him. Then Oscar and Agata continue to see each other for several days. Then Oscar's mother learns that Agata is aware of this secret. After that day, his mother forbids him from seeing Agata. Agata used to come to Oscar's house, but Natalia always returns her to the door. Then they become suspicious in the eyes of those around them. Because they had the impression that Oscar's mother and grandmother mistreated him. As a result, he is not permitted to go outside. He also does not attend school. They notify the police, who arrive at their home the next day and warn them to send Oscar to school. They also had to send Oscar to school under duress. Oscar's mother then accompanied him to school. Oscar will never be able to live a normal life, they believe. Their eyes well up with tears as they bring Oscar. Her mother realizes what is going on and decides to leave the house. They then move to a remote location, abandoning their home. Many years have passed and Oscar has matured as well. His mother has passed away and his grandmother is no longer alive. And Oscar still has the bag that Agata gave him. He never separated himself from that bag. Even he used to sleep with this bag on his back. Even today, when he is at home, he lives the same way. His life is devoted to secrecy. Oscar and his mother used to look after one another. Oscar was dissatisfied with his life. He was frustrated with himself for keeping this secret hidden. Then he thinks that in a short time, he will be famous throughout the world like his ideal Superman, if world knows about him. And many will write books about him. His mother, on the other hand, has no such desire. His mother, however, explains that this will not happen. She fears losing him if world discovers this secret. He is patient for the sake of her mother. However, one day he rushes out of the house without informing his mother. Then he goes to a magic show for the first time to show off his talent, where the talents of the people are revealed. That night, this show reaches its apex. His mother also watches the show. Oscar's mother is powerless in this situation. Many people had seen him on television, so he was well known. He meets a man named David next day. He is in fact an agent. He assures Oscar that he will assist him in becoming well known. "We will organize a crowd puller to make you famous." He gives him a large house in exchange for his signature on a contract agreement. Oscar desired to be famous. He shows his performance in a big show. Oscar becomes a well-known personality far too quickly. He is dubbed the man without gravity after that. Those people have enjoyed their jobs and have made a lot of money. But one day, Oscar realizes that despite his childhood dream of becoming a superhero, he is not one. He has become just a puppet which is used by the people for their amusement. He was called for a magic show and a media event at different times. With the passage of time, he grows to dislike it. Although, many books are written on him. In addition, many magazines are printed. And documentaries are made that portray his mother and grandmother in a negative light. Oscar dislikes it as well. Then there's the last show, where he's dressed as an angel, which he despises. He claims, "I am not an angel." He becomes enraged and begins to curse people on the show. Then he tells his mother that he has decided to leave everything behind. Enough, he tells his agent. I don't want to be famous, and my work was up until now. He will not work any longer. His agent explains, you can't leave it like that. Oscar, on the other hand, is irritated by all of this. He requests that he inform people that the man without gravity has died or flown away. He bids his mother farewell because he wishes to live a separate life. The man without gravity's death will be revealed in the coming days. Many people have different opinions about him. Oscar's mother begins to live alone. And many journalists continue to pay them visits in order to obtain information about Oscar, but she never tells them anything. Oscar's mother died after a long illness. Oscar, on the other hand, was still alive. He was living his life in a unique way. He wore a long beard and sat in a wheelchair to conceal his secret from world. He has changed his identity and is now working as a receptionist in a hotel. Everyone was respectful to him. He runs into his friend Agta one day. She recognizes him because of the pink bag, which Oscar still has today, which she had given him as a child. And because of this bag, he remained on the ground and did not marry. They are delighted to meet each other. However, Agata was dissatisfied with her life. She had no conscience because her only goal was to make money. He used to hang out with a lot of lads in that hotel where Oscar worked. Oscar is distressed to see her. Oscar frequently expresses his emotions to Agata. She has changed so much that she disregards his words. It is stated on it that Oscar still had feelings for her. Woes are the cause of Agata's life change. Oscar also abandoned her. They eventually reconcile and marry each other. They eventually grow up in the same house. And the film comes to an end here. Thanks for watching.